gentlemen, and friends from the media, we will now have media statements. I request the Prime Minister of India to make his media statement.
Your Excellency, President Park, ladies and gentlemen of the media, I am delighted to welcome President Park on our state visit to India. We have just concluded wide-ranging discussion on matters of bilateral interest and regional and global importance. This has enabled us to impart further substance, greater content, and new momentum to the strategic partnership between our two countries. President Park and I agreed that sustaining trade growth and expanding economic exchanges are vital for a stronger India-Korea relationship. Korean businesses were in the vanguard of the discovery of India, unleashed by our structural reforms in the early 1990s. Today, as a result of further reforms, India offers greater avenues and opportunities for them. Our negotiations for revision of the existing double taxation avoidance convention have concluded. We have been exploring the possibility of establishing a Korean industrial park in India. President Park and I have agreed to set up a CEO's forum comprising captains of industry and commerce from both countries to provide us with new ideas for deepening our economic collaboration. I am very happy that a large-scale POSCO steel project in Odisha is set to be operational in the coming weeks, following the revalidation of its environmental clearance. Grant of mining concession for the project is also at an advanced stage of processing. I conveyed to President Park our hope that this project will confirm that economic growth and environmental protection can go hand in hand. Political and security cooperation between our two countries is expanding steadily. President Park and I have decided to establish an annual interaction between the national security structures of the two countries. We also have agreed to launch a cyber affairs dialogue between our governments. India and the Republic of Korea recently held the first round of structured consultation between senior defense officials. President Park and I have recognized the possibility of defense trade and joint production by further promoting collaboration between our defense research organizations. The agreement on the protection of classified military information signed today will also boost our defense engagement. In the area of science and technology, our collaboration has been highly rewarding, with many practical projects being financed through the $10 million joint fund that we established in 2010. The Memorandum of Understanding on Joint Applied Research signed today will enable our scientists to work together and develop technologies for our common benefit. We are also stepping up collaboration in the peaceful uses of space science and technology. Distance has been no barrier to communication between the people of India and Korea since ancient time, and we are determined to bring them even closer in the years that lie ahead. The cultural centers set up in Seoul and New Delhi have energized people-to-people engagement. Korean tourists are visiting India in increasing numbers. I have conveyed to President Park the decision of the Government of India to extend a tourist visa on arrival facility to nationals of the Republic of Korea. We are also exploring the possibilities of better civil aviation rates. President Park and I have also had an opportunity to touch upon regional issues, particularly developments in the Korean Peninsula and our cooperation in the East Asia Summit process. The visit of President Park has imparted fresh momentum to our partnership. I am confident that our talks today have laid out a roadmap for the expansion and enhancement of our strategic partnership in the coming years. I thank you.
I now request the President of the Republic of Korea to make a media statement.
Namaskar. I would like to extend my appreciation to His Excellency Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and the Government of the Republic of India for the warm welcome. I am pleased that I am making my first overseas trip this year to India, the cradle of human civilization, which has long-standing historical and cultural ties with the Republic of Korea. On the basis of its policies of economic reform and opening and strength in such cutting-edge sectors as IT industry, India has attained a rapid growth and as such came into the limelight of the world. I would like to applaud the leadership of His Excellency Manmohan Singh and the potential of the Indian people for enabling such a rise of your country. Since the establishment of diplomatic ties, the two nations have seen a tremendous progress in a number of areas over the past 40 years. Signing the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement in 2010 in particular has moved the mutual relationship significantly forward, not only in economic cooperation, but also in cultural and people-to-people exchanges. Building on such a strong foundation, today we discussed ways to further elevate the relationship between the two nations in a manner that is more substantive and mutually beneficial as strategic partners, and adopted the Allocate India Joint Statement for Expansion of the Strategic Partnership. I am of no doubt that this statement will serve as a blueprint for the future of our relationship. We, the two leaders, in order to promote cooperation in the field of economy where the two nations are complementary and have great potentials for collaboration, agreed to facilitate a joint study on a mid to long-term roadmap for cooperation and make the utmost effort to complete the process of upgrading the Korea-India SEPA as expeditiously as possible. In this vein, it was agreed to organize a bilateral meeting of trade ministers in Seoul at an early date. As the largest ever investment planned by a Korean company, which will also become a symbol of bilateral economic cooperation, POSCO planned to make a total $12 billion investment in the project in Odisha, of which implementation has been delayed so far. The month leading up to my visit, the handover of the land was completed, the environmental clearance was revitalized, and a substantial progress was made in the process of granting a prospecting license. We agreed to work closely together in the future as well to ensure a smooth sail for the project. We also agreed to enhance future-oriented collaboration in areas that are foundations for a creative economy, such as basic science, ICT, and space development, so as to make concerted endeavors as partners for growth. In this spirit, today, an MOU and an implementing agreement were signed to promote a joint study by industries, academia, and institutes, and bolster mutual cooperation in ICT and space technology, among others.
On the occasion of my visit, our two leaders have agreed to revise the long-delayed double taxation avoidance agreement. I believe that it is meaningful that we laid an important foundation for expanding our bilateral investment and improving business environment. I also emphasized that an expeditious approval of branch establishment by Korean banks in India will greatly contribute to increased trade and investment between Korea and India. The two leaders noted the significant potential of cooperation we have in the areas of infrastructure and energy. Prime Minister Singh welcome the participation of Korean companies in India's infrastructure building projects, and our two leaders, with a view to ensuring smooth financing for infrastructure development, highly evaluated the conclusion of the MOU for cooperation between bilateral financial institutions and the $2 million sized interbank export credit line agreement. I expressed gratitude to India for its decision to extend visa on arrival facilities to Korean nationals. Our two leaders evaluated that this decision will increase convenience of Korean people and further revitalize people-to-people exchanges between Korea and India. Prime Minister Singh and I share the view that we have a significant potential for broader cooperation in the field of foreign policy, security, and national defense. With this shared understanding in place, we have agreed to hold regular dialogues between our national security councils and sign the agreement on the protection of classified military information with a view to expanding strategic communication while building a basis for collaboration in foreign policy, security, and national defense. In particular, to solidify our strategic partnership in politics and security, we also recognize the importance of mutually beneficial cooperation in the defense industry area. In this context, I asked the Prime Minister for his interest and support for the export of Korean minesweepers to India and other defense industry projects which are underway right now. I expressed my gratitude to the Honorable Prime Minister for iterating his support for the trust-building process on the Korean Peninsula and the Northeast Asia Peace and Cooperation Initiative, aimed at bringing stability on the Korean Peninsula and promoting cooperation in the region. Moreover, I stressed that nuclear weapons development of North Korea poses a severe threat to the Korean Peninsula, as well as peace and stability in the region, emphasizing that the North's position of nuclear weapons shall never be tolerated. In this vein, our two leaders share the view that North Korea must fully comply with international obligations and commitments, including the UN Security Council's resolutions on the North's nuclear issue. I would like to express my appreciation once again to His Excellency Prime Minister Singh and the people of India for the warm welcome and hospitality. Bao Bao Dhanyawad. Thank you.